Hi, my name's Lou, and today I'm going to be reading the internet for you. Why? Well, why not? And today's what is going to be a thread of reddit.com. Now, of course, as you know, Reddit is a giant discussion aggregator where people post their stories and their opinions and so on and so forth. I don't need to tell you what Reddit is. And every once in a while, a post on Reddit is very entertaining. So that is what I'm going to read to you today, is this post from Reddit. But before we get to that, I just want to do a little podcast news. Of course, as always, I still have magnets to send out. I believe I have sent everyone who has asked for a magnet. If you haven't gotten a magnet and you asked for one and I said I was going to send you one, please send me a reminder or ask for one for the first time at loureads@gmail.com. I've got some. I think I must have bought 100 magnets last time, so I still have plenty of magnets. So don't feel shy about asking for one. And in other news, I want to thank everyone who has become a supporter on the Patreon page. I have reached my first goal of feeling genuinely loved. So that is great news. So I want to thank all 8 of you who have been kind enough to donate to the podcast. It means a lot. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go to Patreon. That's patreon.com/LouReads and see my Patreon page where you can become a patron of the podcast for as little as $1 measly per month. But if you did, you'd be joining people like Lucid and Justin and Stefan and Andy and Lance and Alex and Jeffrey and Eric, who were kind enough to support the podcast, and I appreciate it. And of course, I also want to thank people who have donated through PayPal. Either way, I super appreciate that people care enough to give any kind of donation to the podcast. It's a super fantastic. Can't quit my job just yet, but it's a start. Anyway, so that business out of the way, let's get right into reading from the internet. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to be reading a post from reddit.com in the relationship advice subreddit entitled brackets 39/F. My husband, brackets 39/M, of 3.5 years pooped in the shower last night, and now I don't know how to feel about him. And it was posted by shitty_throwaway 2016. And it goes like this. We've been together for 10 years. He's generally a very clean person, so this was kind of shocking. I had a suspicion that he might have done it one other time, but he denies it. Last night we were getting ready for bed/sex, and we took a shower together, but I got out before him. I went into the walk-in closet that is across from the shower area. I took a few minutes selecting a sexy nightie to wear, and when I came in, I could smell shit. And he had the shower hose in his hand and had it pointed at the drain. I had an immediate flashback to reading about the disgusting people here on Reddit that claim to shit in the shower because they are too damn lazy to get out and use the fucking toilet. I couldn't believe my husband was doing this. I called him out and he said it was an accident and that he was embarrassed and sorry. But like I said, I suspect he's done it before. Anyway, we didn't have any sex last night because I couldn't hide my disgust. Our shower has not been draining properly, and the idea of it being used as a toilet is too much for me. I put out the bleach for him while he was still in the shower last night and told him he had to clean it. But this morning I went to look and there was still some residue. I have to go get some Drano, and I don't intend on using the shower anymore. I just don't know what to do now. I am so angry and disgusted. I love my husband, but I don't know if I can look at him the same way anymore. Update. My husband and I have been talking. I'm not going to throw away almost 10 years of what has been a very happy and fulfilling marriage over a very odd lapse in judgment on his part. He obviously was not thinking straight when he quote-unquote sharted accidentally, brackets, I'll take his word, in the shower. This is very unlike him. He is a well-to-do professional, no mental illness or anything like that. He's Asian, but he grew up in a big city on the east coast of USA. Maybe it's the medication. He's only used it one other time many years ago before being put on it again recently for 7 days. I don't know. He tells me he is so ashamed he can't even look at me, so I'm going to take the high road on this one and let it go, as some of you have suggested. And also because I love him. He promises to be careful in the future. He also took care of the drain and scrubbed the bath while I was out. For now, I think it has been resolved. Thanks for the advice not to freak out. I get it. It's embarrassing for him. I know that to some of you, this is an overreaction, but I've been on Reddit long enough to know that to some of you, shitting in the shower is no big deal. There's even an affectionate term for it, waffle stomping. For me, this kind of behavior is unacceptable and it is not normal. It's extremely disturbing to me that some Redditors think doing that is okay. Though not surprising. Update number 2. We are not divorcing over this. I was completely shocked that he did what he did, but I am not leaving him. We have talked and things are going to be fine. Secondly, I did not say he does this regularly. I said I suspected he had done it one other time, but I have no proof. So please stop telling me to join him. Or whatever. Thirdly, the only reason I mentioned he was Asian is because he is of Japanese heritage. Japanese people are very meticulous about their bathrooms, especially the bathing area. So this was something I never expected him to do. I'm not Asian and I'm not white. My race is irrelevant because I don't shit in the shower. And Apathy TX writes, seriously, thank you. Quote unquote, Reddit, I caught my husband pooping in the shower. What do? ? It's so unbelievably funny it has to be true. You should do what I do when my dog shits in the house and rub his nose in it. It's the only way. And Lions Pride 15 writes, rubbing the dog's nose in it won't stop him, so it probably won't work on her husband either. And G Whizzikers writes, super helpful advice. I recommended chat and making it very clear you do not shit in the shower. You are an adult. You will now be cleaning it, get exit mold, bleach Drano, and don't come out until it looks like new. Brackets not at the same time though, haha. Got another bathroom? Maybe make it solely yours. And High Low 33 writes, I'm 40 now, but when I was in my early 30s, I had to fart while I was in the shower, and that's when I first sharted. It wasn't a small one either. It was all over the faucets and my poor scrubby thing. Worse, there was no detachable thing to spray off. There was so much crap that I tried my best to clean it up until I there was so much crap, and I tried my best to clean it up until I started vomiting all over, and then the tub got clogged. I will say that I haven't ever trusted a fart since then, and I've never sharted again either. Still, your husband is probably more horrified than you are. I can truly say that was a defining moment in my life. As to what happened, I didn't feel like I was about to have diarrhea. I just felt like a normal fart until the stench hit, and I turned around. Granted, this was about 2 weeks after Katrina, so the food I ate was questionable after not eating for 5 days. We couldn't drink water, so I only drank beer, which is the only thing available, lol. I did get sick as hell about a week later. And Comrade Bunny adds, I'm sorry, that's absolutely terrible, but I'm sitting here in my lunchroom cracking up laughing at the visual of you vomiting on your shit. I'm so sorry. I really am. I've had to emergency poop in the shower before when I've had diarrhea, brackets, have IBS, but thankfully the shower shits have only happened a few times in my life. Thankfully, I've never shat on my loofah, but I do empathize with you. But still, OMG, that's too funny. Sorry. And Harold Please adds, dude, I was taking painkillers after breaking my foot. Worst thing ever to embarrass me was when I was at work heading to the bathroom. Bam! I shit myself in my pants in the hallway. It falls out of my pants and looks like a fucking horse shat in the hallway. I go out after using the restroom. Fellow employees see me trying to clean it up and states the janitor was coming to clean it up, not realizing it was me who did it. I felt so bad and embarrassed while I ran into the janitor on my way to go home and change. Gave that lady all the money in my pockets, about $40, and told her why and apologized and asked her not to tell anyone. I could never look her in the eye again. Short and simple, people do shit themselves. Do not make them feel worse for an accident. And Wildweeds adds, I don't have kids or anything, but I have pets. I have cleaned bathrooms at former jobs. I have touched vomit that was and was not mine. I have touched shit and piss that was not mine. It's gross. We get it. But it's just a bodily function, and it happens, and you have to deal with it. I think you are severely overreacting if you are saying that A, you might not use that shower again, and B, you can't look at your husband the same way. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it wasn't. Either way, he surely feels embarrassed and ashamed, and now you're just rubbing in how disgusted you are with him just in general, so I'm sure that's going to do great things to his self-esteem and your relationship as a whole. Figure out why he really did it. If it's a medical thing, then you just have to let it the fuck go. If it's not, then it's a mental thing, which is still a medical thing, and you should help him find out why and how he made the choice and work on not letting that happen again. If he is depressed or in a bad place mentally, shaming him and pulling away from him is not going to make him stop doing something you don't approve of. Just make him clean the tub really well with tons of bleach and shut up about it. Seriously, get off the poor guy's back about it. He's already ridiculously embarrassed. You've been together for 10 years. You had to smell someone's poop. Big deal. I wash my cat boxes out in the tub because it's the best place for it. Do I want to stand in a tub that's had cat shit in it? Fuck no. What do? I clean the fucking tub and then everything's fine. Seriously, it's not a big fucking deal. If it becomes some habit because he's a depressed, gross motherfucker with no sense of hygiene and doesn't care about keeping things up anymore, then I think maybe you have something to worry about. But even then, you should worry about his mental health deteriorating to the point that he should be doing that and not that quote unquote, ew, I'm grossed out. Anyway, I know I was cursing a lot and I know some people take that sort of tone as a personal attack, so just want to say it wasn't. I just think you should cut your poor husband some slack, make him clean the tub and let it go. If that made you feel so completely unattracted to him, then I think your relationship has bigger issues. If my husband did that, I could totally see myself going quote unquote, what the fuck? Too. But my first instinct would be to ask him if he was fucking okay, not to shame him for grossing me out. And Rauer adds, can I just add, as a person who works with the elderly, that this is a huge part of marriage later in life. I see people whose spouses, once vibrant and powerful, eat through a tube and shit in a bag. If one yucky mistake is making you rethink your connection with your partner, you'd better get a whole lot stronger before you get any older. And Digital Smear writes, my ex-girlfriend is an ER doctor, and she came home one day and told me a story about an elderly couple who was in the hospital that day. She asked the man while she was doing her examination, quote unquote, have you had any blood in your stool lately? He said, quote unquote, I'm not sure. Then turned to his wife and said, quote unquote, honey, have I? She said, quote unquote, nope, you've been fine, casual as can be. My ex was surprised at first. Then as the implications sunk in of what an intimate connection they would need to care for one another like that, she realized how meaningful it was. And Roy Cropper writes, this guy is clearly addicted to waffle stomping. He has a problem and needs your help. Give him shit and he will just crush it down the plug hole. And OP Shitty _ throwaway 2016 writes, OMG, seriously though, fuck you Reddit. The fact that that term even exists. WTF is wrong with people? And Lurid Lurker adds, I can completely understand your disgust, but there's a chance here that by being revolted to the point of it driving your interactions with him, he'll react overly defensive about this rather than work with you on getting to an agreement. The first thing is, why is he doing this? Can you muster a judgment-free zone and foster a safe environment where he'll feel he can be honest about his reasons? I think once you get some insight, you can have a better idea of how to deal with this. Appealing to the practical side of things above voicing just disgust may get you farther too. Shower drains are not typically anywhere near as wide as toilet drains. There's a good chance a fair bit of material won't make it past the trap right away, leaving a pretty strong smell that can stick around. The hygiene of leaving fecal matter where you're going to track it around or sit in it is a practical problem too. And Fierce Independence 3 writes, I don't shit in the shower, and I do think it's kind of gross. But for God's sake, I can't understand why you're freaking out, like you just found out your husband murdered your parents or something. You do realize your husband shits, right? Like most human beings, yet you'll have sex with him unless he shits in the shower? Now it's the end of the world? I just don't get it. And SKS44 writes, it's all pipes. And Diablo 165 adds, wow, I can't even. I don't know that I could get past someone shitting in the shower. And Shitty _ throwaway 2016 writes, I know, right? I just don't know. WTF. Am I supposed to just pretend that never happened? I love him. We have been together for almost 10 years and I never knew he was capable of something like this. He's always saying what a clean freak he is and I'm the messy one, but I would never shit in the shower. And I'm sure he's embarrassed, and I don't want to be so shallow. But seriously, how do I go forward? I don't want to use the shower anymore. I just can't move. Ugh. And Diablo 165 replies, unless he has a medical condition, he should be embarrassed. I'd let him know that shit needs to never happen again. There's nothing shallow about being put off by your partner shitting the shower. It indicates bad judgment, bad hygiene, bad planning, and a lack of basic knowledge of how plumbing works. And Noah Siggy adds, if you're willing to throw a 10-year relationship for this, you're the shitbag with the issues. And Doritos 101 writes, holy shit, I can't believe how appalled people are in these comments. It's just shit. It goes away. Sure, he should have absolutely cleaned up better after himself, but even I've taken a shit in the shower, and I'm a normal 24-year-old dude. It was once and purely out of curiosity. Quote unquote, can this be done with relative ease compared to sitting on the toilet? Can this be done, quote unquote, can this be done with relative ease compared to sitting on the toilet? Turns out, doing the South Asian position of crouching and shitting is miles easier than pushing with all you've got on the shitter. Would I do it again? No. The cleaning process was a pain in the ass. Your husband is probably just trying something new for fun/curiosity's sake. He doesn't need a doctor visit. And Junkman1 replies, do you know what an oxymoron is? When saying you shit in the shower and that you're a normal 24-year-old in the same sentence is kind of like that. So I'd think twice whether I'm a normal 24-year-old if I were you, although I do agree with your comment that, quote-unquote, it's just shit, it goes away. As for thinking that he, quote-unquote, is probably just trying something new for fun/curiosity's sake, is this seriously something you decide to check out at the end of a pre-sex shower with your SO? Timing is everything. And Doritos 101 writes, curiosity killed the sex in this case. You're right, timing is everything, and this dude fucked up. But saying he needs a doctor's visit because of an irregularity involving shit is extreme. In the same way, saying I should think twice on my quote-unquote normality is going overboard. I certainly wouldn't go admitting I've taken a shit in the shower to any of my friends or acquaintances, precisely because I know I'd get a similar response as this thread. It's not a socially normal thing to do. I am, however, a normal person, and I'm sure most everyone has tried things out that aren't normal. Doesn't make them any less normal. For instance, if the OP's post was about her husband taking a shit on her chest without having talked about it first, none of the responses would have referred him to a doctor. They would rather be all about what a fucking asshole he is for doing so without being granted consent. It's a weird fucking fetish that certainly isn't fucking normal or oft talked about, but would that make him any less of a quote-unquote normal person compared to people with foot fetish, armpit fetish, etc.? Edit. There are immigrants who literally crouch on the toilet seat, feet on the seat, because that's how they're used to shitting in the can. If I did the same but have never even been to a country where they shit in holes in the floor, would it also be an oxymoron to say I'm a normal person? And PM Me Your Nose Hair writes, my thought was this. Your butthole is a lot cleaner after a shower than a regular wipe. So maybe during the shower he realized he had to poop and he had a few choices. A. Get out, dry off, shit, wipe, and go about his business with a freshly clean body and a wiped butthole. B. Get out, dry off, poop, wipe, get back in the shower and clean his butthole again, then get out and dry off again, brackets ideal. Or C, shit in the shower and rewash his butthole. I was guessing he chose C to avoid the quote-unquote WTF what are you doing question when he got back in the shower in choice B, and to avoid the quote-unquote ew, we're about to have sex and you shit, now I'm turned off conversation. I could see the logic, just sucks for him that she walked in too early and also that he didn't clean it up properly. Or I could just be way off. And King 60 Things writes, me and the SO are into pegging. If I know it might be on the cards, I'll give myself a little enema in the shower beforehand. Brackets, before anyone pipes up. Yes, I know it's not an ideal method. Sometimes poop comes out. I rinse it down the plug hole and throw a bit of bleach in there when I'm finished. Job done. No issues. Can't see what all the fuss is about, honestly. It's not like she's licking the plug hole. And Lion's Pride 15 asks, why can't you use a disposable enema on the toilet? Why do you need the whole shower to poop in? You shoot the stuff in, hold it, then let it come out on the toilet. And Chasing Statues adds, I feel bad for your husband. I'm a very clean person, and I once sharted in the shower. Brackets, thank God it was in the shower. I scrubbed the floor after I got out, though. It was a totally unsettling and embarrassing experience. Not to mention, completely unexpected. I'd never done anything like that before, but something I ate upset my stomach that day, and when I thought it was going to be another fart, well, it wound up a shart. It's probably food poisoning or something. However, I'm lucky that I have the kind of relationship where I can tell this to my boyfriend and we can laugh about it together. So yeah, I feel really bad for your husband that not only did he have to go through that humiliating experience, but then his partner witnessed it and is now judging him to the point of questioning their marriage. This is the worst possible scenario or outcome. It's Larry David levels of ridiculous. You said that he's clean and this is unlike him. It was clearly a mistake and you should apologize for punishing him for it. Edit. Notice your edit where you think people are somehow condoning this as normal. I'm sure you'll think that's what I'm doing as well. No, it's not normal, and no one is saying this should be a regular activity or that showers are the new toilets, but it's also not the end of the world if something like this does happen. Bodies are weird, and sometimes food goes right through you. You want to commit to marriage. You have to commit to the failings of the human body. We can't always have control all the time. Sometimes, as they say, shit happens. And Special Agent Woof adds, if he's nearly 40 and can't tell when he needs to poop, thus it actually being an accident, he needs to go to the doctor. If it wasn't an accident, that's fucking disgusting and just wrong. Especially that he didn't even clean it well. I'd be contemplating sending him to a psychologist. And Froglicker adds, he could have just trusted the wrong fart. I mean, if it was a log, that probably isn't the case, but that would make sense for some buckshot. And shitty_throwaway 2016 writes, I asked him if there's something physically wrong because normal people just don't go shitting in showers. He's on prednisone for throat granulomas, but I've never heard of incontinence as being a side effect. And deleted ads. Are you sure he actually has throat granulomas? Prednisone is commonly given for inflammatory bowel disease, which can certainly cause incontinence. Maybe he's just embarrassed to tell you. And Dude Nudum 3 writes, is he obese? Some obese people prefer to shit in the shower so they can wash the areas they can't reach properly to wipe. And BD Canuck writes, can't those folks just use the toilet then take a shower? And Dude Nudum 3 confesses, I'm not sure of all the logistics. I just know it's a thing. And BD Canuck replies, my suspicion would be that showering might be an alternative to wiping, but that most people would still use the toilet. And Dude Noonan replies, you would think, but there's a lot of stories out there about fat people shitting in the tub. And BD Canuck replies, well, time to get out the old incognito mode and do some Googling. I can't imagine why this is a thing. Edit. It seems that the problem is that there are some people who are too large to use a normal toilet, but not so large that they can't get into the shower. And Take 42 writes, I don't understand why there's such a huge backlash. Showers are a place you go to clean things, which means you get into the shower all dirty and gross, and then you make the grossness go away. As long as he pooped before the shower started and made sure the shower was clean after, brackets, sounds like he skipped that step. The two good arguments against it are sanitation and clogging, but the core issue from your perspective seems to be that poop is gross. Yes, but is it really that big of a deal? I think you're overreacting. I think it's perfectly reasonable to ask him to stop, and I think he should comply. I don't you need to be freaking out about it, though. If he's been doing it your whole marriage and you never knew until now, could it really have affected you much? And if it just started or was an accident, forgiveness seems totally reasonable. I don't think you should be worried. I don't think it's a sign of a mental illness, and I doubt that the medication was corrupting his judgment. It's weird, but it's not ill. There's nothing to be worried about, and he seems motivated to stop. And S'morebatch writes, LOL, you people are all reacting way differently than I expected. I'm going to get downvoted to hell for this, but I don't care. I'm saying it anyway. One time, I pooped on my boyfriend of a year in the shower on purpose, and he never contemplated dumping me over it. He was asking for it, though. He threw up a lot. This isn't a throwaway account. I don't care. I'm proud of it. He was a terrible boyfriend and a terrible person, and if I had the chance, I'd do it again. Besides, like I said, he was asking for it. And Brass Monkey adds, that is some Ape Kingdom level dominance. And Rat in My Bed asks, why did he want you to shit on him? Did he think it might be his fetish, or did he mean it as a joke? You said he threw up, so it seems like he bit off more than he could chew? Brackets, nastiest metaphor possible in this context, ha ha ha. And S'morebatch replies, you misunderstand. He was asking for it in a quote-unquote he deserved it kind of way. Copy-pasted from my response to another comment, ITT. I was smart about it. I waited until he started washing his face, and then I just pinched off one on it. What the fuck? I waited until he started washing his face, and then I just pinched off one on his foot real quick. The thing he did to deserve it was, on 2 separate occasions, ask me for a hug while in the shower, then hold me tight so I couldn't get away while he peed on me. I was pissed. Brackets, off and on. And within the same shower session, I knew that I had to do it. So when he felt something warm on his foot, his voice got shaky and he asked, quote unquote, what is on my foot? I think he knew instantly. Once I didn't respond, BC of laughter, he kicked it so it flew off and hit the wall. He said he wouldn't open his eyes until it was out of the shower, so naturally I lied. He opened his eyes to see my Hershey's Kiss staring at him in the face. That's when he started throwing up the pancake breakfast we had just eaten. That's when I figured it had gone far enough, so I got some TP, picked up and flushed it, and noped the fuck out of there. BC, the whole bathroom started to smell like puke. I went upstairs and finished my shower alone until he finished puking and came upstairs to try and intimidate me with an ominous glare, but he couldn't even keep a straight face. He never got me back. BC, I threatened that if he tried to, I would think of something even more unspeakable, and, as he had just seen, I wasn't afraid to deliver. And Josh Legs adds, for what it's worth, one time I was hopping in the shower and felt a poop coming on, but took a second to go to my computer to turn some music on or something, stark naked. I thought I'd be okay with a quick poop, but no, it was diarrhea all the way. I had to spend the next hour cleaning poop out of my carpet. I guess as they say, shit happens. I try not to judge too much. Farting in the shower is common, and sometimes a little extra comes out. And Mutilated Guy writes, I'm 34. This has happened to me twice already where a fart in the shower turned out to be a little more than I bargained for. I wonder if it's like the warmth relaxing everything. Having the runs and then being all relaxed, and maybe because shower is like a safe place where you can blast a fart if need be. It's the perfect storm for accidents. And KY Kit Kat writes, I hate to admit this, but I was married to a mentally ill man who did this as a sex thing. Brackets, I was no longer active with him at this point. After he left, I had to buy the can that has air in it that you put against the drain to blast it clear. You could also try an auger, brackets snake, that worked first try. The can worked first try. I hope it turns out just to be a misunderstanding on his part as to what's acceptable. And Teal Green adds, I think you need to get a squatty potty. The position of your colon when sitting on a toilet does not allow optimal bowel movement, so that is why your husband feels the need to shit in the shower. If you get a squatty potty, then he will be able to make a complete bowel movement before getting in the shower. If you've been together for 10 years, you shouldn't just throw it all away because you found out something new. You should be glad that you are learning new things about your husband so far into your marriage, and you should accept him both. And you should accept him both the good and the bad. You need to compromise and work this, and you need to compromise and work through this. Don't play the blame game. You have to find a solution that can work. You need to find a solution that you both can work with. That you can both work with. There is nothing mentally wrong with your husband. It's just a bit of laziness. If you're in the shower and you feel a bowel movement, you might as well go right there instead of getting out, drying off, and using the toilet. After all, you already pee in the shower. Pooping isn't that different. Also, poop does not clog the shower if it is properly waffle stomped. The bacteria in poop rapidly breaks up the poop in your drain, and it goes right into the same sewer where you flush your toilet. If you have a problem with a clogged drain, it's most likely your own hair, so don't go around blaming your husband for something you caused. And Double-Edged Wombat adds, you know what my wife and I did on our first date? Farted in each other's faces. You know how we knew we were perfect for each other? Because we're still together 10 years after that. Seriously, just laugh about it. Maybe give him a little shit, brackets no pun intended, about it now and then so he won't forget about it. But otherwise, let it go. A few years ago, I took a shit that looked like a dick and balls. And what's the first thing I do? Take a picture and send it to my wife. We're still having sex after that. Brackets, yes, we totally act our age, which is 27, almost 28. And Tackney writes, and here I was grossed out my boyfriend pisses in the sink sometimes. You win. That's fucked up. At least your spouse isn't proud of himself and tried to hide it, unlike my BF. And the final post in this thread is by Holy Santa Claus Shit, who finishes by adding, I am so absolutely fucking disgusted and infuriated for you. I literally read this and said to my boyfriend, quote unquote, if you ever fucking shit in the shower, I would break up with you. I don't see how it could be an accident because if I went to fart in the shower and I even remotely sharted a little bit, I would flip out and jump out to finish in the toilet. What is wrong with this world? OMG. Plus, if it was me and it was an accident, I would be screaming and freaking out. Seriously. I don't know how you can move on from this because I'm sitting here thinking about it and I'm worked up and it's not even my problem. Well, what do you think of that? Waffle stomping appears not to be as common as you might think. After I did some Googling, there are certainly a lot of gross photos of poop in the shower, but that seems to be sort of an urban legend more than a real thing, but perhaps this is a true story. There are some Reddit threads about people's roommates pooping in the shower and things like that, but I'm not sure if waffle stomping, although this is an Urban Dictionary post for it, but what are you going to do? I thought it was silly and funny, and apparently, according to other people in the thread, it happens. Does it happen to me? Maybe. I don't feel like talking about it. So what? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. It's very silly. As someone who suffered from IBS for years, now mostly under control, I've had to shit in some horrible places and unexpected ones. So try not to judge too harshly unless, you step in it because it's in public. So let's wrap this one up. This is a short one. I hope you enjoyed it. I already said all the things about the podcast at the top of the show. And as always, if you have a chance, please go to iTunes and write a review of the podcast. We have quite a few reviews there, and it is always nice to see them. But we could always use more. Could be the most commented on podcast that has never been on the top page. Again, I don't know if that's an automated thing or if somebody put it there, but whatever. reviewing and voting on the podcast at any of those places is preferable to not doing anything. So yeah, iTunes, Stitcher, all those places. Please feel free to do me a favor and rate it. You can write a little blurb, mention which is your favorite episode, whatever you like. Also, join the Facebook group, which is at facebook.com/LouReads. It is a not overly active but fun place for me to post crazy things in between episodes and episode reminders and things like that. I won't fill your feed with lots of horrible things, just the occasional sort of weird thing in the news, or maybe a guy who's been caught fucking a horse, that kind of stuff. Like I said, I won't bomb your Facebook feed with horrible stuff, just the occasional horrible thing, and you'll love it. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Lou Reads the Internet for you. My name's Lou. This has been Lou Reads the Internet. My husband of 3.5 years pooped in the shower last night, and I don't know how to feel about him. For you. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.